Hey everyone, welcome for downloading this special holiday edition of the Retro Gamers. Ho, 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 Larry here.
What did you call me?
I called you my friend.
Oh, okay. I heard something different. And Anthony here.
What's going on, Aunt? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Larry. I feel like
This is it.
I feel like whenever we get whenever it's Christmas time, we're like 7 years old again.
It's the most, next to WrestleMania, it's the most wonderful time of the year for me.
Well, that's because we haven't grown up and we still get video games for Christmas.
I'm fingers are crossed. Fingers are crossed. This is extra.
Think Santa brought something?
I'm hoping. I don't know, because when we're recording, it's not Christmas, but when this drops, it is December 25th.
That is correct.
So, thank you for taking time from your day with your family to listen to us for a little while to enjoy Christmas cheer being spread around the land with two of the happiest group of people on the planet.
That's right. Or you're welcome for this distraction from your family on Christmas during what I'm sure is no doubt a very fun-filled holiday festivity that you're in.
Christmas times of years gone by, sitting there watching the Yule log on TV, and
somebody drinking a little too much eggnog and saying the wrong words, other people being absolutely inappropriate, and just that kind of. Yep. There's always that kind of Christmas too.
Not getting the gifts you want versus getting gifts and like, what is this?
Exactly.
Thank you, Mima.
Right. That's what we're here for. We're here for that. 30 or 45 minutes or however long we go today. To distract you from whatever's going on, or at least that's how I like to think of it.
I just want to make a quick note. Friend of ours, Frank from the Better Half podcast, put this post up, basically in a nutshell, saying how who wraps. Or do you, I should say, wrap Christmas presents that go into the stockings?
Oh, I saw that post. And the answer, but for me, the answer is no, I don't do that.
Yeah, neither do I, or neither would I.
I feel like that's extra work. I thought stockings were invented as a cheap and easy way to wrap things because you just stick a bunch of stuff in the stocking and you're done.
Yeah, it's like the last minute stuff that you throw in there.
Exactly.
Did you ever put stockings up for your pets?
Oh, I got two up right now. Snow gets a pink one, and Link has a blue one.
Yeah,
Link should have a green one, but yeah,
that's true. We always had stockings up for the pets, and the couple years we had Snowball, which was our albino hamster. We had a little stocking, tiny little stocking for him.
I think we did that too for my sister's hamster. It's just like that. Not that they knew anything about it.
Yeah, having a good time.
Yes.
So, but today we're going to talk about some Christmas games, which not a lot of them are out there, but there's enough to kind of huddle around the television.
Yeah, there are a few. I can't, not a ton directly related to Christmas per se, but to your point, a handful, and then there were, and then something else to talk about, and I was just remembering it now, but I posted a link to it yesterday, like old school Christmas ads.
Oh yes.
Christmas ads for video games. So I think maybe we can touch on that because I posted one and it actually got really good responses. So I think maybe fun to talk about those a little bit as well.
No, definitely go check it out on the Facebook page. Retro Gamers Podcast. I was looking at those ads. I don't know if you want to jump into it now, but
we can.
There was one that you put up from. Was it from KB? I can't remember. Or
KB
maybe
Toys. I'm looking at it right now.
KB Toys. I'm pulling it up, and it had there it is right there. I'm just pulling it up here. Christmas 1989.
Yes,
and. Showing all the games, the Nintendo, the NES at a wonderful price of $79.99.
Yes, an affordable price.
Is actually the going price today. We're back in '89. That was on sale.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of funny. Well, and when you buy it today for $79.99, you don't get the box, the instructions. You just get You just get a really old, possibly yellow console.
And this was all hand drawn too. Back in '89 for KB, they weren't really taking photos; they were hand drawing it. I love how the boxes they show a bunch of titles.
Yep.
The boxes are pretty much accurate, except for the WrestleMania one.
What, too cartoonish?
Well, first of all, I don't think he was wearing red tights on the cover.
It's a very good point.
Of the real box. And then a little bit of a lighter background in the back. There's Hide Glide behind that one.
I think they were going for some color so that Hulk Hogan would pop.
And then the thing I want to point out, which I do not remember it being $6, but I guess it was. I made a point. The controller adapter, the Bandai controller adapter for the NES. I remember having this stupid thing. It was this clip, this you clip it on to the NES controller. The start, select, BA buttons were all exposed. That doesn't change anything. But what it did was it basically changed the D-pad into a little mini, I wouldn't call it a joystick, but a stick control that gives you more of an 8-way control direction. And I remember getting that. For the handful of games that I had, and once in a blue moon I'd rent RC Pro-Am, it did work.
Oh, that's cool.
I have to admit though, I also do like the cartridge holder.
Oh yes, I had the cartridge holder.
Do you really?
I had. I don't have.
Oh no, I know. I figured that. But...
I think I had that specific one because it was like it. And what's funny is like back then when you bought like cartridge holders and things like that. Like today when you buy them, they're all like plastic, right?
Oh yeah.
I was like, but back then it was wood. Like you actually got a wood holder.
Yeah. Yeah, you threw it at your siblings. You were doing damage.
Oh, there's no question about it. Like I could have broken that over my sister's head. Would have been awesome. Merry Christmas.
We're going to the ER.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? I have stories. But in that KB ad, the thing that what I love looking at is first off this, your favorite game up top there, Castlevania 2, and then. I always love the little disclaimers that they throw in there. So like on this one, it says, not all titles available in all stores.
Oh yeah.
Just so parents don't get your hopes up. If your kid wanted Bionic Commando and it was the hot game that year, yeah, good luck to you. But I had the Nintendo Max joystick, which if you don't remember what the Max joystick was, it was like, I don't even know. It was like instead of a crosshair, you had like a button in the middle that was like free moving. Like you can roll it, you can kind of roll it around and everything like that. So you can press it in the direction you wanted, so you can get that 8-button press.
It was almost not saying it's not truly, but it was almost like an analog stick.
Yeah, it was almost like an analog. And it was so terrible.
Oh, yeah, I had that controller too. It was horrible.
It was god awful. It did not do anything. It did not.
But it had the turbo buttons.
It did have the turbo buttons, which was great for cheating. Especially like, if you wanted, I don't know, whatever games where you had to button mash to shoot repeatedly. It definitely helped with those.
Yep.
And saved you from carpal tunnel at 8 years old.
Well, not like the doctors are now.
Oh no. Yes.
Yeah.
I have in my left hand I have text thumb. That's what they were calling this.
Oh, that's right. Yep, I forgot about text thumb.
Text thumb when you're over texting with your thumb and you actually text thumb.
That's retro. That's pretty retro. Because especially back then, because with the way the phones were, like the flip phones, kids, phones used to flip.
That's right.
And with the thumb reaching over, that definitely, especially when you had to repeat, because you had to hit a lot more buttons back then to get to some of the letters. That what they call that text when it started predicting T9.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you remember that? Like instead of like hitting the button 3 times to get to like C. You would, I think it was called T9 texting, where you just hit the, it kind of predicted texting. But yeah, text thumb was a thing. Now it's selfie wrist, which never dawned on me really. But yeah, when you hold the phone in landscape mode to do a selfie, that's starting to kill your wrist. doctors are saying to get money from the insurance companies.
Well, yeah, well, they have to get them somehow.
Going back to the article, now you got to admit the one awesome third party control. Was it third party? I think it was third party. No, it wasn't. Nintendo put it out. I don't know who put it out. I forgot. The Advantage joystick.
Yes, I think everybody either wanted it or had it.
If correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was used in the Wizard, but for a really stupid game. I feel like they used it to play.
Maybe right.
I think Bo Bridges was using it to play Ninja Turtles. No.
Oh no! He was using a regular controller.
Yeah, he was.
I remember because he woke up Christian Slater.
Yeah,
it was playing.
That Advantage, and it was a giant. If you don't remember what it was, it's a big. Giant, they call it a joystick, but it's just a glorified controller. But it was huge. It did have a controller, a joystick like an arcade joystick with a ball on top.
Yep.
B and A buttons were a lot bigger, so easier to press. That had turbo buttons. That had slow mo, which is just basically it would just hit start very fast, which was annoying.
Yeah,
annoying. I was gonna say annoying for those games that made a noise when you paused it.
Oh yes.
I actually have. Someone made the Advantage joystick for the classic.
Oh,
so I actually do have it.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it looks exactly the same. So, yeah, I remember. Do you remember? Ant? It may have been I want to say Sears put it out. Getting the Sears toy catalog.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that.
Maybe like right after Thanksgiving, maybe it came out.
I think it either came out right after or even before. I mean, it may have. I just remember and the joy of going through that and earmarking all of the pages for the toys that you wanted Santa to bring.
Yep.
And then my favorite part of it though was waking up on Christmas morning to find that you got like 2 of them.
Well,
although knowing you got all of them.
Look, household with 3 kids, household with 1 kid. I'm just saying. No, but
that's why Barbies in my house used to lose their heads.
Aw. Yeah, that Sears catalog would roll around. JCPenney eventually put one out as well. I think this was a little better than Sears, I remember. And yeah, as soon as you're flipping through and you get to the it was always in the back of the book.
Yep.
Like a manga. You would read it backwards.
Yes. Well, for kids, you didn't care about the rest of it.
No, of course. Well, you get to the clothing section, depending on how old you are. But you kept flipping through and you're right, Ant, just kind of sitting there, circling. I remember the video game section was maybe eventually like 4 pages because of the number of systems that came out.
Well, yeah, as systems came out, they would expand it.
But they would almost list the games individually. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I get the that was almost like the second option to find out what games were coming out. Your first was like Nintendo Power and stuff like that. But when you were that young, before you were old enough to start buying like Game Pro, even before Game Pro came out, I guess, and stuff like that. To me, the Sears catalog was kind of to figure out what was coming out for the holiday season.
Well, and not just what was coming out, but like, it would also give you like the description of the game. So you knew what the game was about. Because remember back then, like, when a game came out, there weren't established franchises. So you had to find out. It's like, okay, I have a game called Hide Glide. What the hell is that? It's like, what's that game about? Or Metal Gear. Even when Metal Gear came out, it's like, you don't know what Metal Gear is about. Granted, the cover gives you a little information, but you needed those descriptions. And the Sears catalog would always do that as well. So it wasn't just, okay, here's the name of the item and the price. It's like, okay, what's it about? Okay, now I want this. Give me it, Santa.
I know we obviously we talk about retro games, but let's just go full retro for Christmas for a moment. Yes. What was like the best toy? Not necessarily video game. What was the best toy that you got for Christmas? I know I'm springing this on you.
Oh man, you know I don't like being put on the spot. You know.
All right, while you're thinking about it, one of
What's
my
the best
favorite,
toy that you? Yeah. How about you?
yeah, one of my favorites was getting the Firehouse headquarters from the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Oh yeah, I
Got that?
remember that. I had that.
Yeah, everyone had it.
No, no, no.
Everyone,
Was it from the cartoon or was it just from
it was
Ghostbusters?
no, it was definitely the cartoon
Okay.
because I remember the figures because um,
I remember the spinning elevator that went down in the
yes.
middle.
Not only
Because
that, here's what's so memorable because in my house, it only lasted about 2 days. So, get this giant warehouse because back in the day, folks, they really put a lot of effort into these toys. This
yes.
thing was huge, almost as big as the. I had Transformers, Ultra. No, oh man, what was the city called? Fortress Maximus. I had a Fortress Maximus. I think
Hmm.
I got it for a birthday. That thing was, I mean, it took me like a half hour to transform the stupid thing. It took forever. But the Ghostbusters house was tall. I would say, I don't know, a couple feet maybe.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, I was little, so it looked bigger. So anyway, so you had the toy, you had everything on the inside, you play with the figures and stuff like that. Oh, and those are my
Is it?
alarm off. So on top was a grated ceiling, like the roof was grated. Reason being, they also sold slime, official
Yes.
Ghostbusters slime.
I used to have
And
tons of that.
yep, and you would be, and one of the things was you were actually able to pour it on the top of the firehouse, and then it
Hmm.
would drip down, ooze down to cover the inside.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, cool, Slimer got everyone. Well, at that age, you slime the firehouse, but you realize you should clean it afterwards.
Yes.
I left it overnight, and that stupid slime turned into concrete, basically,
Hmm.
destroying the entire action play set.
Of course you would do that.
To say that Christmas week was a little tough in the Mormon household for a young Larry. So it was, I may have been reminded once or twice how I broke my Christmas toy.
And completely understandable.
Oh, absolutely. I deserved it. Oh, God, it was so funny.
Wow. You would
Uh,
do that.
I didn't know.
But I got mine though. I do remember. I was trying to think, and I successfully did. Um, but one of the best Christmas toys by far that I ever got was Voltron from the yeah,
Ooh.
from the TV show. Now I loved the original Voltron. Now,
Yep.
granted, the new one on Netflix is from DreamWorks is fantastic.
I still haven't watched it.
It is
Oh,
fantastic. I have the last season just dropped now,
okay.
like last week, but I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. But when I was a kid, I wanted the Voltron toys, and just being able to open those up on Christmas morning because they were five separate toys,
Yep.
and you needed all five to put together, to put Voltron together properly. I mean, it would be really weird if he was like missing a leg or an arm or something. So and then I don't remember if it was Mattel or whoever. Obviously, a brilliant toy to sell because every parent has to buy five of them. You know,
Yeah.
nobody's just gonna buy one. Here, oh, here's the blue lion. Good luck to you. It's like no, you had to buy all five, and that was the best thing because getting that and then being able to form Voltron. But not only that, but we're also talking the days when these things were die cast metal.
Oh,
So
yes.
when you put that Voltron together, I swear, no question, that thing was so heavy. I could have very easily murdered anybody and gone to jail, and that would have been the weapon. There's no crack. You swung that thing, you were cracking a skull. Um,
That Transformers, they were built to last.
yeah, well, Transformers as well, which was
Yeah.
another another gift. But
Both.
yeah, but by far and away, like Voltron was probably my favorite toy. Um,
Okay.
you
Did
know,
you
it,
ever get the second Voltron, the one with the cars?
no.
Yeah, it was like 15 of them you had to put together.
Yeah, no, no, no. There's only one Voltron. It's five lions. They come together. They form Voltron. That's it. No other Voltron. Just saying.
Power Rangers is like Voltron.
Power Rangers is like Voltron, but it's not
No,
Voltron.
That was a cool toy. I remember that. Yeah, that was a good toy. And then of course, I think we talked about it last year, but for those new to the podcast, obviously the games that we got growing up, like I remember vividly, for Christmas getting a lunchbox. I
Yeah.
opened up the wrapping. I got a lunchbox. I was 8, right? Yeah, probably 8, 9. I'm like, okay, thank you. I forgot who gave it to me. Then
Mm-hmm.
I like open it up, and I open it up, and inside was Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yes.
To that time, yeah, and then that's when I was like, oh my god. So I remember that vividly.
Yeah, see, and I wish I can say I remember. I don't remember the video games I got at Christmas that vividly. So it's just one of those things. I think I got like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Christmas one year.
Hmm.
I definitely got wrestling games for Christmas.
Yes.
No question about that. If I didn't get it if I didn't get it on my birthday, I got it at Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely remember those things.
Yeah, I remember, and then also just back in the day, around Christmas, because Christmas is really the time of year when we were little. That's when we got to stock up on games.
Yes.
Otherwise throughout the year, all right, on your birthday, very rare. You would get a game regularly. They were
Yes.
pricey back then. Times were different. Um, but I do remember, like, at the end of the year, like my dad would get like his Christmas bonus, so
Hmm.
we'd make the magical trip to the far off land of the Staten Island Mall,
Yes. The Staten Island Mall.
which was like, to me, was like, going like around the world to this place that we've never been to, only get to go to one time a year, and that was the time I was able to buy. Wait for it, kids. 2 games at once.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, yeah, because to your point, when we were kids, it's like you got games pretty much twice a year. That was the end
Yep.
of it, and you played those games to death.
I had no choice.
Yeah, because your entire game library was like, oh look, now I have 8.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is fantastic.
So that's Christmases of years gone by. But let's talk about a few games that actually are Christmas, that are related to Christmas, that were actually made because of the holiday.
All right, sounds good to me. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the one that I guess is obvious, the one that was based on a movie series, a very successful movie series, and one that does have that holiday feel to it. The Home Alone games.
Oh yes.
Um,
Home Alone.
Home Alone movie. Did it just turn 25, or is it a little older than that?
Let's see. Home Alone. No, Home Alone's older than that. Home
Okay.
Alone, I think Home Alone came out in 1990. I want to say.
Oofa.
Yeah, so it's almost 30.
Oh God. Sorry I mentioned it.
Yep.
So Home Alone,
28
obviously
years.
great movie. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. We will allow it. And the games though were just they
Terrible.
were rough.
They were terrible. I remember the first game. Well, I don't know if it was on the NES or the SNES one that I'm remembering, and I don't know how different they were. But I remember one of them where you were basically riding around on a sled.
I think that was more part 2.
No, I actually think that was part 1, but on
No,
Super Nintendo.
here's what happened is the Home Alone series, which was very a lot of games did this. Basically put out the exact same game on the NES and the Super NES, but
Okay.
obviously graphical differences. And in the first Home Alone, you were basically just running around the house collecting items to then drop in like the laundry chute to put into the vault.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
so
I remember that now.
yep.
Yes.
Actually, they even had a Game Boy version which did the same thing as well. So you had 3 different versions with 3 different levels of graphics.
Hmm.
It was fun, but it also kind of it was that point where you're like, how is this based on the movie? Like a lot of this didn't make sense, especially because it was way more than just Marv and Harry in the house trying to get to Kevin.
Mm.
So Home Alone, and then Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, had a little bit of a different gameplay. I think that's where you saw the sledding.
No, actually, it was the Sega Genesis version of Home Alone that had the
Oh,
sledding.
oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so they changed the game to Kevin is now protecting the neighborhood instead of just his house, and
Yeah, it was a community watch.
so he's traveling through the neighborhood by sled, and they give you like a top-down view. That's the part I
Oh,
remember of him traveling by sled. Um, and it was annoying. It was hard to control. I remember playing it. It was absolutely obnoxious. Um, yeah, and let's see. And I'm actually looking at I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. I just wanted to point this out for the Genesis version
okay.
um, that one reviewer basically said the game was a wasted film license and was, I quote, grotesquely overpriced and pathetically underdeveloped mockery of a game.
Oof, oof. That one cuts deep.
Yeah, that's why I liked it.
Poor Kevin McAllister.
Well, look, you know what? Kevin made a ton of money at the box office. Probably didn't make so much off the video game sales,
No,
which is why he, good old Kevin as an adult is doing Google Assistant ads.
I love that commercial.
That was hysterical.
Basically, Macaulay Culkin got the haircut. It looks just like Kevin McAllister.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Also, I do want to give a quick shout out to obviously a wonderful page, which really, I think, started this whole thing of online video game reviews. Angry Video Game Nerd just recently dropped a video based on Home Alone games, really more of the other games, because that's why I forgot the Sega Genesis one, because he was kind of focusing on the Nintendo ones a little bit. That the video actually stars Macaulay Culkin.
Yes, that is awesome. I need to watch that.
It's a very funny video. Yeah, definitely check it out when you can. So
will do.
So the Home Alone games, they were what they were. Very odd because bats and stuff trying to kill you. It's weird.
Yes.
Just let alone anything trying to kill you in a kid's game.
What's wrong with that?
But then you got some other games like. How can I explain it? Because there was a time for a while where flash games on websites were all the craze.
Mm-hmm.
Snood was like the first one that we all remember.
Oh, Snood.
But then there was a bunch of Christmas ones that would come out, and you go to whatever webpage it was, just loads up immediately. Then you just start playing. One of the biggest ones I remember, which actually not only got a Wii release, version release, got a Game Boy Advance release. No, excuse me, a DS release. Also had a movie made.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking, or I'm talking, about Elf Bowling.
Wait, Elf Bowling had a movie?
There was an Elf Bowling movie, yes.
Nice. That's just weird. That is just weird.
Yeah, and basically, let's face facts. Elf Bowling is basically little person bowling, just with a Christmas overlay.
Yes, and the sad thing is, I'm trying to remember, did you throw an elf down the lane at other elves, or what were you throwing at them? I forgot what it was.
Well, the elves were definitely the
pins.
Oh, you threw Christmas presents.
Oh, that's right. You were a snowman throwing Christmas presents.
I'm pretty sure. Weren't you Santa?
No, I thought you were a snowman.
I feel like you would want to be Santa because I feel like Santa.
No, you are Santa. You're right.
Yeah,
basically, it's Santa getting his revenge on his elves for maybe not doing a great job this Christmas.
Actually, to be fair, there have been 8 versions of Elf Bowling.
Wow. That's insane.
Oh, this is hysterical. I'm looking at this right now. So obviously Elf Bowling 2, Elf Bowling 3 involving slinging elves in Mrs. Kringle's pink bra onto distant icebound targets.
I never played that one.
That's not even bowling.
I want that one, though.
Super Elf Bowling, which is a 3D version.
Uh-huh.
Elf Bowling 5, bocce style.
Yes. The elves are bocce balls. No. Elf Bowling 6 now is got to be the epitome of this series.
Air Biscuits. I could have sworn I saw that movie. I thought that was part of the Air Bud series.
Yes, but what I like is, you're bowling the elf over a mound of snow, which sends up elf airborne. The elf could remain in the air by using fart power. So you were using your air biscuits to maintain flight.
Elf Bowling 7, The Last Insult. That is the best title for any Elf Bowling game that can
It
ever come out. Returns it to the original series, but with new modes,
has
stuff like
story
that.
mode.
Yeah, and then of course, kind of like many horror movies or movies that just don't know what direction to go in a sequel, we get
Yes.
Elf Bowling Hawaiian Vacation.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the elves need a break, man.
Bernie needed a break. Jack Frost needed a break.
Everybody, look, I
Cousin
mean,
Eddie.
yeah, Leprechaun went to space. Why can't the elves go to Hawaii?
That's when you know when a horror movie, a horror series jump ship.
That's very true because if a leprechaun and Jason Voorhees can go to space
And Critters.
and critters,
I think that was the one Leonardo DiCaprio was in.
critters too, yes.
And then if anyone's curious, 2007 was Elf Bowling the movie.
Yes, I completely missed, and I'm okay with that.
And then various other ones with Santa and stuff. You can definitely check those out. One Christmas game I want to, well, I should say this. There weren't, look, to be fair, there weren't many actual Christmas games, like games that were truly based on Christmas. A lot of it was just either around Christmas time or like had a download overlay.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites, I just want to mention, actually, yeah, one of my favorites is there's this homebrew of Super Mario Brothers 2 Christmas edition.
Yes.
Gameplay wise, it's the exact same thing as Super Mario Brothers 2. So no difference there. But the graphical change that they made with actual snow falling, the Shy Guys wearing Christmas hats.
Mm-hmm.
That was whoever. I apologize. I don't have the information as to who made it, but they did an amazing job at it, and it's just a fun game to play, a game that you already know and love, but just with a Christmas theme to it.
Yeah, and what's cool about it is that you just showed it to me actually before we started recording this podcast because I had not seen it before, and it was awesome. I actually want to get my hands on that.
Yeah, no, that one's pretty cool. But we got a quick. You know what? Let's get to. We have a nice quick list here of some Christmas themed games. Again, some are overlays, some are actual games.
Yeah,
kind of get to it and see what it's all about.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. Why don't we just ping back and forth on this one? So,
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so and we just found like a list of stuff. So the first one is Christmas Lemmings, which. And I loved the original Lemmings game. I don't know how you felt about those, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was a very interesting puzzle type game where pieces were always moving, so you had to react quickly. Otherwise, you're ultimately otherwise the Lemmings would commit suicide if you didn't get them to safety
because they just kept walking forward. You're right. Lemmings, I think, was like the first game I ever remember like on a 3.5 floppy.
Yes, I remember. Yep. Yes, the 3.5-inch floppy. God. But it was better than the large floppies that we used to play like on
5 1/4.
The 5 1/4, man. But yeah, but I remember like when you would buy these games, like it was really special if the game came on like 3 discs or 4 discs because you're like, holy cow, this game is like 6 megabytes.
It's huge.
But Christmas Lemmings, again, it's just taking the lemmings and giving them little hats and making the levels Christmas themed. So that was actually a fun little game there.
Yeah. Another one which was again not necessarily an overlay, but they threw this together just as kind of like a just for Christmas. Christmas Nights into Dreams.
Yep.
Now Nights into Dreams. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Nights into Dreams is probably one of the best Dreamcast games. Not Dreamcast, excuse me. Saturn games out there.
Yeah, and that's my understanding as well. I have personally never played it, but everybody who's played it has said it's just an absolute fantastic game. And now that I have a Sega Saturn, I should probably look for it.
Yeah. And Christmas Nights into Dreams was it was a 2-level Christmas. It was basically a demo. It was, I don't remember what magazine it was in. Well, actually, you know what? I think there was some various ways you could have gotten it, either through a magazine or Like it was probably bundled with a game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's a lot to go through back then to basically for a company to be like, hey, Merry Christmas, just have fun with this. We're gonna create a 2-level game on a system that's going to take a lot of effort to put into, and we're just going to throw it out there and give it to you for free, which again, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And again, it's just one of those games where, whatchamacallit, like, you think of genre games that define the system. For Saturn, they didn't have much. They basically had
No,
this. They had because Saturn was one of the only systems Sega put out, and possibly the only system Sega put out that did not wind up with a Sonic game, which was probably one of their biggest mistakes. But yeah, like Nights into Dreams, I think was probably their most well known, and Tomb Raider might be the other one.
true. And what I want to mention real quick with this, and again, it wasn't just them slapping Christmas graphics onto an already made game. It was a new story.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guy comes back. The kids from the original game are back. Knights is back on basically a brand new 2-level, but a brand new adventure. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, kudos to Sega for trying to, to actually making a sequel to the game. Basically, it wasn't just that game. Moving on, this one's a fun one on the Commodore 64. Now we're going way back, but this was definitely a specific Christmas theme game. This was called Special Delivery: Santa's Christmas Chaos. And this was the first game. This was the first game ever where you got to play as Santa Claus.
That's cool.
Right, and your job as Santa Claus is obviously to deliver presents to the kids. And what you had on the screen was you had like boxes on the screen which represented the levels in the house, and your job was to get the presents to the Christmas tree, and you had to sneak around the house to make sure that you did not walk into any of the children, who, by the way, according to the description, they're sleepwalking. They're not walking around looking for Santa. They happen to be sleepwalking. So even if you ran into them, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't see you because
just sneak around him. Well, he's got a lot of bells on him, so I guess it's hard to maneuver.
But and then of course in true Commodore 64 fashion, the characters are basically glorified stick figures.
Of course, and like Santa's not even red.
No, they made him white.
He looks nude.
Yeah, he naked, basically naked Santa running around your house with sleepwalking children. You know what's interesting? You can fill in the blanks there.
You know what's interesting about this game for a Commodore 64 game? There was actually a lot of different elements in the game, like to do. You flew around on Santa's sleigh first to collect the presents, which apparently angels and devils made, no elves. You drop the presents down chimneys, but on larger homes, you get to actually land. Then you enter the house, and that's when you do the whole thing, like you mentioned, to avoid the kids. So there was a lot of gameplay to this, actually.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a little more involved. You also had to avoid the fire when going down the chimney.
Yeah, as always.
So it had some good gameplay. So if you're a Commodore 64 fan out there and you're looking for some holiday cheer, Special Delivery: Santa's Christmas Chaos is for you.
Next one up here on the list, Duke Nukem Nuclear Winter. It's pronounced nuclear.
It's nuclear.
So this is just basically, Duke Nukem, like Doom, like Wolfenstein, always had their mods and stuff. This is just basic graphic overlay. Really nothing new, like no new weapons or anything like that. But, basically in a nutshell, aliens, the alien that you defeated in the original game, they come back. They've taken over Santa Claus. And then you'd have a couple of new enemies, evil snowmen, and then the feminist elven militia, which is always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And
you gotta beware when elves form a militia, they're pretty dangerous.
And Duke Nukem's guys make his way to the North Pole to stop Santa Claus.
Well, yes, because the alien horde brainwashed him.
So, but as usual, you defeat the game. Duke Nukem saves Christmas, and all is right with the world.
Yay! All right, moving on. I'm gonna jump a little bit to this one because I need to talk about this one.
Okay.
And it belongs on the Christmas list, no question about it. It is the Die Hard trilogy game.
Oh, we're going there. Okay.
Yeah, we're going there. So, and the reason why I need to talk about the Die Hard trilogy game is because I've been in a heated debate with my coworker that I share my office with, because there are two kinds of people in this world: people who think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and people who think that Die Hard is a movie that just happens around Christmas. Okay.
Now, quick cross promotion. We actually did talk about this in depth on the Better Half podcast. That will actually drop if you're listening to this on Christmas. That episode will drop tomorrow, the day after Christmas. And actually, Anthony was on, so thank you very much for actually being on the show, Ant.
You're very welcome. Was happy to join you for that episode.
It's a very special episode that we talk about, a very special episode. But then we talk about how Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So download that when you can. But you're arguing with your I'm
arguing with my coworker because she doesn't think it's a Christmas movie and I do. And it just so happens that, because it's Christmas time, other people are chiming in on this because we're posting things on Facebook. But I keep getting things that I tag her in and forward to her that show why it's a Christmas movie, to the point where she's just like, stop it. And I'm like, no.
You will listen because this is a Christmas movie.
This is a Christmas movie. And even 20th Century Fox this year, or 21st Century Fox, came out and said that Bruce Willis is wrong, because Bruce Willis came out and said it's not a Christmas movie.
I know it. He's an idiot.
And then 21st Century Fox re-releases a trailer for Die Hard with the Christmas overlay and basically announcing that it's a Christmas movie. It also has a Christmas book out right now, a Die Hard Christmas.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's called the Die Hard Christmas. It's like a children's book, like a 'Twas the Night Before Christmas children's book with like drawn images from the Die Hard movie. Definitely and it's one of those hard to get gifts this year. So if you find it, get it. But anyway, so Die Hard Trilogy was a game. I had it on the PlayStation. I think it was it just on the PlayStation?
It may have been on something else. I don't remember. Saturn maybe.
Yeah.
But
Die Hard Trilogy had basically 3 video games in it. It was also an arcade game, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So it had a game for each of the first 3 Die Hard movies. Now, the first 2 Die Hard movies took place around Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is most associated with Christmas, of course. But basically, you had 3 different types of games. And the first game was you were running through Nakatomi Plaza, trying to save, your wife and her coworkers from, Hans Gruber and all the terrorists. And it was great. It was absolutely great. Loved it. The second game was an on-rail shooter where you're taken outside of the airport to stop the terrorists. So it was basically just a shooter, which was really cool. And then the third one, which had nothing to do with Christmas, but did have a lot to do with Samuel L. Jackson, was the car racing. It was basically you were driving around New York City.
That's right.
I remember doing that because I would always drive through Central Park and run people over. But
third one's in New York.
Yeah. But the first 2 games were really fun, especially the first one. I loved the first game on that. And it's a great Christmas game because Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I'm in on that. Absolutely. Ho ho ho.
That's right.
I got your gun. So the next game, I'm just going to keep going instead of I will honorably mention game Frosty the Snowman, aka Frosty's Busy Night,
for the Commodore 64.
Yeah, actually I didn't know that. The game was actually packed with an issue of Your Commodore magazine. Oh, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's also similar to Dashin' Desperados on Genesis. Yep. Basically, it's just a race. You and another player, split screen, and you race and avoid obstacles. Yep. Pretty straightforward, but cool.
And if you hit an obstacle, you melt.
Yeah, like the Doritos commercials. Worth it. This game, I just want to mention it because I've played this game. I've actually played this game. I played it last year on one of our live streams.
Oh,
I did.
I do not recall that.
Yep, Days Before Christmas. DAZE. Days Before Christmas. This is from top to bottom a Christmas game that was made for Christmas. A Obviously, you play as Santa Claus. Now, I didn't understand the concept of the game. I still kind of don't, even after reading the description. But during the game, you play as Santa, and then at points, you play as like Demon Santa. It's
Yes.
just very,
Well, come
very
on,
weird.
you have to play as Demon Santa. It's just you have to.
This game was more released overseas, not necessarily. We never just got it here in the U.S. Um, but basically, an evil snowman captured all the elves, all the reindeers. So now you got to go raise hell for Christmas to save everyone, to destroy Mr. Weather.
Evil Mr. Weather. There to ruin Christmas.
Oh, that's what he's drinking. So when Santa drinks coffee, he turns into Anti-Claus.
Nice.
I wonder if that's as bad as Santa Claus.
No, nothing's worse than Santa Claus.
When you're Anti-Claus, you're invincible, but you can't pick up presents, and you can only attack with your Christmas sack, the one with the presents in it.
That one speaks for itself.
Absolutely, that explains why you can't pick up presents. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's a quick game. It was a very fast game. There's sleigh rides in it, boss fights, yada yada yada. Days before Christmas, which if you can get it here in the U.S., it's most likely going to be a ROM. Based on games that were released over in Europe. I think it was more Europe than Japan. But if you can get it, definitely play it. It's awesome.
Yep. And then moving on, another game another Christmas game based off of a movie that most people don't connect with Christmas. Because I'll be honest with you, as much as I consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, I do not consider Batman Returns a Christmas movie. I just don't think of it that way.
It's funny and Batman Returns, Christmas, it's in your face.
Yeah, it's really in your face. It just doesn't feel. I don't know why.
You're right.
When you watch that, it doesn't feel like a Christmas movie. Maybe because the whole concept. See, this is actually the perfect argument for a different show because we're a video game show. But anyway, it's a perfect argument for what constitutes a Christmas movie. The plot of Batman Returns isn't about Christmas. Batman is not technically saving Christmas. He's saving Gotham from the Penguin. It's just that the backdrop for the movie is Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
In Die Hard, the whole purpose of the movie is John McClane is trying to get home to spend Christmas with his family, with his estranged wife and children. So the actual plot is driven by the fact that John McClane wants to come home for Christmas. Batman doesn't want to come home for Christmas. It just so happens to be Christmas in Gotham, and and the Penguin shows up and is causing trouble, and Batman has to save the day. So that's how you differentiate a Christmas movie from a movie that has Christmas in it.
I like it. And
go.
that Batman's gonna be very lonely on Christmas. So
of course he is, because he has no parents.
Oh,
no presents under the tree for Batman.
Oof.
Well, maybe Alfred bought him a pair of socks. But anyway, there was a Batman Returns video game, which heavily involved the Christmas theme because of the film. And it was basically just a side-scrolling beat-em-up game.
Much like Final Fight.
Yeah, very similar to Final Fight.
Have you played it?
If I did, it was a really long time ago, and I don't remember.
The game is awesome. I got to admit, okay. I bought it last year. It's smooth. It plays like Final Fight, like Maximum Carnage, all those types of games. Definitely,
and those games are awesome. Yeah.
No, if you can find it, definitely pick it up for the Super Nintendo. I don't know how the Nintendo version works.
I don't know, but I want the Super Nintendo one just because after reading this, I want to hear 16-bit Danny Elfman soundtrack in the game.
I think you already know what that would sound like.
Oh yeah, but I gotta hear it.
So next up, now this, I've heard of the game. I just never realized it was Christmas because I never played it. James Pond 2, codename RoboCod, a.k.a. Super James Pond. James Pond was a series that actually survived for a while.
It did. There were quite a few.
Yeah, it was a bit of a platformer. It's a spoof of James Bond, but James Pond, you're some sort of fish or amphibian or a what is that thing that's I forgot what they call it. Mud skipper. That lives in the land and water.
Yeah.
But this version it's takes place during Christmas. You really can't. You're insane. The villain, Doctor. I forgot about this guy's name. Dr. Maybe
Dr. Maybe.
has taken over Santa's workshop and held everyone hostage. Boy, Santa can't catch a break sometimes.
Now, let me tell you something. Maybe Santa should look into some type of security system. Maybe he should build a wall, something. I don't know. But yeah, apparently, yeah, Santa can't keep people away from, invading the North Pole.
Nope, not at all. But this is very straightforward. It's a platformer, 50 levels. It's just fun to play. And it's got, it's totally during Christmas. So definitely check it out when you can.
Yes. And then the last one that I just want to throw out there is one that I did not know about before today. And just from reading it, I want to get it because I'm an uber fan of the Tim Burton film, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
I love that movie. And I did not know that on PlayStation 2, they released a game called The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, so that one I don't remember. And there was another Nightmare Before Christmas game called Nightmare Before Christmas Pumpkin King as well. But Oogie's Revenge, what's interesting about this game is, yes, it was made for a younger audience, so it's not exactly a very complicated game. But they say the gameplay in it is very similar to Devil May Cry. And I love the Devil May Cry series.
Ooh.
So just that in and of itself makes it interesting to me. And on top of it, the gameplay consists of 24 chapters where you're fighting different enemies, solving puzzles, and everything like that. And then you got letter grades at the end based on how you perform. Mm-hmm. But and then they have the doors to the different holiday worlds and like just basically everything out of the film. And it got decent reviews as well. I mean, not stellar, but it got 7 out of 10 type of stuff.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, and for PlayStation 2, so I definitely this is out of all the games that we've been talking about that are Christmas related, I go, this is the one now that I want to go out and pick up this year.
This year.
And
I didn't realize this plays like Devil May Cry. Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, see,
I'm not even crazy about the movie.
Yeah, see, oh, shame on you.
I don't think Tim Burton's weird, but I just never got into a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well,
it's not Halloween. That's why.
Well, yeah. Well, and there's also an argument of, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? And the answer is it's both. It's a fusing of the holidays together.
I'd consider it a Christmas movie.
I don't know. It's definitely, to me, it's more of a Christmas movie than it is a Halloween movie. Okay. I agree with that. When it was released in theaters, though, I think it came out in July or something like that. It was something
just in time for the Independence Day rush.
Exactly. But yeah, that game actually sounds like something I've never played, and I definitely would like to. So yeah, just fun all around.
Cool. Oh, and that, folks, is basically your the top go-to Christmas games, at least in our opinions. So and a list. So
yeah, our opinions and a list that we found online, and that just makes up everything. So
it does. And yes. what we thought was going to be a short episode, not as short, but you know what? It's Christmas. Maybe it's time to let you guys go. Let you guys and gals go back to your families. Oh, that's right. You really can't see this at this point, but
no, my cat wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Aw,
Merry Christmas from Snow,
the friendlier cat.
Yes, right? And her name is Snow, so she fits for Christmas.
Aw.
Right. Okay, babe. There she goes.
She's done. She's got her...
She's done. She's like, what the hell did you just do to me?
All right, so let's wrap this up then and let everyone get back to their fruit cakes and whatnot.
When this episode drops, Larry, I will already be in New York.
Yes. And next week's episode, which is our New Year's episode...
Yes, it's gonna drop on New Year's Day. Yep. We're gonna be starting 2019 off with a bang, and I say with a bang literally because the New Year's episode will be the culmination of our 2018 contest. Yep. Where, for those of you who are just tuning in, Larry and I had a bet going all year, thanks to Josh from Victims and Villains.
I'll never forget it.
Right. The person who spent the most money buying retro video games this year, which is not a bad thing, but the
Nope, not at all.
person who spent the most money buying retro video games in 2018 had to buy the other person a Virtual Boy.
Yep. And
obviously, Larry has been wanting a Virtual Boy forever.
Long time.
Very long time, ever since he lost his previous one.
Yeah.
And we all know the VB Sucks campaign that's been going on on our page on our podcast for like a year.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yes, thank you, Charlie, for pushing that on. But anyway, the culmination of this will be next week, where Larry and I reveal how much money we've spent buying retro video games in 2018. Larry would very much like the Virtual Boy, so he can cherish it and play it for the 10 hours that it will actually work before it dies. Anthony, on the other hand, would like to win the Virtual Boy because should he win it, he will be destroying it on live stream. And I haven't chosen my weapon yet, but this isn't going to be a simple, I'm going to step on it type of thing.
You know, the Grinch nor Krampus is this cold during the holiday seasons.
Oh, I know. Let me tell you something. My heart is 20 sizes too small for this one. And I am going to revel every moment of it should I win. And I'm fairly confident that I'm going to win.
And I still have hopes. I still believe in a Christmas miracle that will happen.
Yes. If you manage, since next week is still 2018, if you can dangle some really expensive retro games in front of me that make me spend that money, you have a chance.
Well, I may have to, since you're going to be in New York, I may have to, as kind as you were to bring me to all the great spots out in LA, Game Realm, Game Dude, all of them. I may just have to bring you to my oasis in the sand and finally introduce you to Game On. Why do I have a feeling, though, that you'll still wind up spending more money there when we're there? If you're listening now, Tristan, don't let me buy anything.
Tristan, give him the store. Sell him the whole store.
He could have at some point during this year, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, actually, all joking aside, I'm actually quite excited for you to check out Game On after all this whole year.
I am looking forward to it, and in advance, I would like to thank the fellows over at Game On who are basically going to be hosting us next week.
Yeah, kind enough. And also next week we're gonna have a special guest on. We'll save that. Just what I'd like to do to kick off the new year.
Yes,
with this guy. And
I think it's fantastic, especially for this specific episode.
I don't even want to know what he has conjured up for us in 2019.
I don't know. I don't know. As long as he's wearing clothes.
All right, and with that, folks, thank you very much for joining us here on this Christmas edition of the show. Of course, remember, just everywhere. We're gonna make this easy. Retro Gamers Podcast, basically. If you can't find us there, it means we're not on that platform.
Yeah.
And wherever you listen to podcasts, do a search for Retro Gamers Podcast, and hit them with the website and the email.
Yeah, you can find us at www.theretrogamers.com, and you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com. And on behalf of myself and my campaign to destroy a Virtual Boy, I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas, and if you do not celebrate Christmas, a very Happy Holidays, or if you want to be all-encompassing, a very Merry Chistmakwanzaakuh.
And I'm going to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, because that's today when we drop.
Yep.
Happy New Year, because technically we're going to be back in the new year.
That is true.
Hopefully you had a good time for New Year's Eve. And thank you for supporting us. Thank you for joining us on this road as we continue on, because we will catch you right here next year on the Retro Gamers Podcast.